Campfire is brought to you by Mother's Day is right around the corner, and we are partnering with RHOA Forever so that you can get yourself or your mother figure something beautiful, something that will last at least a year. So many of you have checked out RHOA Forever in our collaborations in the past, and you said, I've had my roses for 2 years. Guys, it might be time for you to upgrade or change those roses. However, we always have a discount code for you. Campfire20MD, that's for Mother's Day, is now available for $20 off. It will only be available during this Mother's Day collaboration that we have. Be sure to check out the description for more details on how you can get roses, candles, even other beautiful flowers that will last you at least a year from our friends over at RHOA Forever. Again, more information will be available in the description. You're listening to Campfire here on the Campfire Radio Network. Do you realize that Mother's Day is less than a month away? Have you even thought about what you're going to get your mother? Well, we are partnering yet again with our friends over at RHOA Forever. Roses that will last you at least a year. I've partnered with them multiple times, and I have so many of their roses. I've even given them away as gifts. And the last time that we partnered with RHOA Forever, it was during Valentine's Day. And look at these roses. And they still have their wonderful rosy scent. But shout out to our friends at RHOA Forever. They don't just have roses anymore. They have candles. They have even things for the brides, because some of you are getting married this spring. Just saying. They also have hydrangeas. There's all kinds of new assortments. You can see behind me, I have some roses. If you were here in my apartment, if you were a friend of mine, I've gifted RHOA Forever to you guys. And some of you have had your roses for more than a year. But RHOA Forever promises that for at least a year, you will have high quality, wonderful smelling, beautiful roses in your home. And please understand, this is a flower arrangement that your mother will love. Your mother will always look down and say, oh, my child got that for me, or my coworker got that for me, or my favorite nephew got that from me, or my favorite niece got that from me, or my favorite goddaughter or godson. Yup. Roses work for anyone. I can't tell you how I feel walking into my home and I have a RHOA Forever bouquet at my front door, or somewhere in my home, on my kitchen island, or here in the studio. Because the studio can be just a workspace, but as you can see, it can liven up any workspace, any room in your home, including your bathroom. So even if you're not looking for something for Mother's Day, or maybe you want to get a Mother's Day gift for yourself, of course, get RHOA Forever. As always, more information on RHOA Forever and our link will be available in the description. Thanks, RHOA Forever. And welcome back, guys. Be sure to let me know if you can hear me, see me, and do all the things. This is a impromptu live where we're going to talk about the long-awaited Kenya Moore confessional video. Finally, it's here. It's here. Look, we waited. I even did a video earlier today where Kenya Moore went on her social media to apologize to the fans that there were some technical difficulties and she was hoping to have it released today. And she did. And some of you hit me up on Twitter. Hey, Twitter, keep hating, but keep watching. Some of you do not like the title of this video. This is my recap. This is my review. This is my view. You may not feel that way, but this is my view. Okay? But keep watching. We appreciate the watch, the views. Thank you. And we know you will. Okay? And we know you will. So, earlier today, I was out and about because it's a beautiful 80-something degree. I know, a little too soon, Mother Nature. Beautiful day here in New York City. You guys were hitting me up, okay? Hitting me up, and she released it. She released it. You all were like, Kempire, where are you? She released it. I was out minding my business because she told us she was going to release it on a Friday where we were seated and ready. This is why you can't release something impromptu like that. But here we are. We're still talking about it, and we're still going to break down each and every part of this 30-something minute, like 31-minute confessional. But it looks like by the end of it that Kenya will be doing more. Kenya will be doing more. But what is there more to say? I mean, some of the things that stood out to me in regards to, she addresses Portia. She doesn't address the Cynthia of it all. Maybe she will address that in another video. maybe. A lot of you had a hard time finding her YouTube channel, but by now, I think all of you have found it, right? If not, I will link it in the description because what do we do here? We always cite our sources, okay? All right. So shout out to everyone already in the live chat. We appreciate our King's Guards holding us down because we know everyone has a very different opinion when it comes to Real Housewives of Atlanta, when it comes to Kenya Moore. It's all right. This is a safe space. Just don't be disrespectful. Okay? Okay, good. Shout out to our channel members as well. We appreciate their monthly support. And shout out to our subscribers. We appreciate you being here as well. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video. Be sure to share the video. And don't forget, you can hear live recaps and special episodes on the Kempire podcast. So subscribe today if you haven't already. So we're going to break down the different parts of this video, okay? Because I think it's necessary just to kind of give perspectives on things that we've talked about. So this is the very first time that Kenya has had an opportunity to sit down and really tell her side on her own terms. Yes, she did the Shade Room interview and she did Tamron Hall interview after the situation, okay? On Tamron Hall, that's where she took some accountability, but she also revealed that Bravo tried to make her look like a Black Karen. So we're going to unpack some of this. I will be stopping and going. As always, I am sharing this video under the Fair Use Copyright Act because we are doing this for commentary, and research. Okay? As always, the disclaimer is available in the description to the algorithm gods. Okay? All right. So let's break all this down. Again, if you haven't already, be sure to like or dislike. Because either way, some of you just disliking because you're hating from outside the club. Keep hating. I will never understand stand-up for someone you don't know, you will never know, and doesn't want to know you. But okay. All right. All right. Let's break this down together, guys. All right.
So I want to start by referencing something that means so much to me, especially right now. It is a quote from Kendrick Lamar. Wait, what's the quote? Okay, I'm being serious. Okay. They try to rig the game, but they cannot fake influence. They, you know who they is, tried it, girl, tried to rig the game, meaning, hey.
I want to pause for a second because first of all, you got to give credit where credit's due. What I liked about this video, quality camera, audio's good. Remember, they're giving full body confessionals during this new season of Real Housewives of Atlanta. It started with Real Housewives of Dubai, same producer, same production company. So I'm not surprised. She's giving us full body. Body is bodying. Okay. Chocolate is chocolating. Hair is hairing. Spa is spaaing. I wish we would have gotten more from the spa. We'll talk more about that when I break this down a little bit more. But I'm loving the confessional look. Again, this is a confessional. This is her version. All of us have said during the season of Real Housewives of Atlanta that we want to hear Kenya's side. If you're going to include Kenya, we want to hear those witty confessionals that she would have given us. Did she do that here? Okay. Okay. All right. So if you could see this, the hair spa. So she's filming this in the hair spa. It looks good. I mean, we all have said that the hair spa looks good. Let's see what else Kenya has to say.
We're going to try to make you think this over here. You cannot fake influence. And I am influential. Hey, everyone. It's your girl, Kenya Moore. Kenya Moore Hair Care. Kenya Moore Hair Spa. Kenya Moore YouTube. Anyway, this is my first ever YouTube content that I'm putting out myself. And I'm so proud of myself because I am taking back the narrative instead of everyone speaking on me. And quite frankly, everyone...
Pause. Enrique says her confessional looks better than the ones that's on the show this season. No lies told. The confessional look is definitely better than what we're getting on Real Housewives of Atlanta right now. Maybe because she's not using a green screen. Right? She's not. No, she's not using a green screen. And shout out to the editor. And look, I know the editor, we've been hard on the editor because we were like, where is this damn final edit, sir or ma'am? Okay. Where is the final edit? But I'm appreciating her first video on her own with the quality editing. All right, let's get into this.
Money off of me? Mm-hmm. That part. Even sitting down in the interview chair, I haven't done that like for a year. So guess what? I'm doing it for you. Thank you for joining me. And be sure to subscribe because you do not want to miss any of this hot, smoking, piping hot tea. Let's get into it. Let's get into the receipts, okay? More receipts. I have more receipts for you. And I want to just talk about some things that I have been seeing out in the atmosphere that are completely laughable, most of it, but also in a lot of ways just really dumb. Yeah, I said it, dumb. Portia, in her recent YouTube, alluded to
That's so shady to say dumb and then segue into Portia.
their housewives sending me the photos of the now infamous photos that were shown during my spa opening.
I know for a fact that one of these housewives who is still on the show is the one who gave Kenya a big part of that nude information.
So number one,
I always found that interesting that Portia says that she's known for a fact that one of the current housewives gave Kenya this information. Here's the thing. She might know for a fact, but maybe it was Drew. Last week, Drew says that she's related to Michael Jordan. Drew has a problem with the truth. So maybe Drew admitted to Portia that she gave Kenya the information, but we can't rely on Drew and we can't rely on Portia to tell the truth.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
the photos were online on various porn sites, meaning porn sites. I don't watch porn. I'm not a porn expert. I don't enjoy it. I don't participate. I don't get anything from it. Okay.
That sounds a little judgy.
Yeah.
It's okay, Kenya, if you did, but this sounds a little judgy. But okay.
I would like to just rather see my own body in action, maybe in a mirror or something like that. But I'm not going to sit there and watch porn. The investigators and everyone involved, not including Drew Sidora, found those images and they're still there. That brings me to Ming Lee. Someone said that Ming Lee was somehow involved because they know each other, and Ming said out of her own mouth that she has a lot of evidence of Brit Eady's past performances, gigs. Let me say this for the people in the back. We did not get any photos from any person. They came directly from a search online. The photos that were revealed are not considered revenge porn. I went so far as, oh my God, did I do something wrong? I don't know this lady. I don't know any of her ex-boyfriends. I don't know any of her ex-friends. I've never seen this lady before in my life. I want to make sure I didn't break any laws. So I engaged a local attorney who advised me about the federal law as well as the Georgia state law. I shared photos that were readily available online.
Y'all know how tired I am of this conversation about revenge P. I'm so tired of this conversation. Kenya's not facing a lawsuit. She's not facing charges on this. I'm so sick of the debate. I'm not defending that it was or it wasn't. We've talked about this endlessly. But I'm tired of it. So she says she spoke to an attorney about these images. I can't recall whether or not she's talking or if she's referring to before she shared the images or after she shared the images. Because if she shared it before, I would hope the attorney would be like, don't do that. But okay. But
I did not commit revenge porn. I shared a publicly available photo that was accessible online. If I showed Kim Kardashian's safe steak right now, is that revenge porn? It's not. And then while we're talking about that, I've already said it was wrong. I should not have done it at my salon, this beautiful salon that I've worked so hard for, that I spent a lot of money on, that money that could have been spent in other areas, including supporting my child.
Pause. I want her to say, but this is me. I would like for her to say, I should have never shared those images, either at your spa or even at a group event. I know some people said that probably would have been better for you. Regardless, I don't think she should have shared those images at all. It would be one thing to be like, I've seen some images of this woman, blah, 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 blah. But even then, I'm like, okay.
So yes, I am very sorry that I shared the photos because it wasn't right, but I did not break the law. And I'm very sorry for what I did. So in the comfort of my own home, I was joking around with my bestie, which I always do, my very best friend, Brandon DeShazer. We were having a dispute on the show with Phaedra. And I was in my closet and I brought out one of my firearms. And I'm like, oh, do I have to use this on Phaedra tonight? Giggling, ha, 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 he. Phaedra was not around, nowhere to be present. Phaedra never saw it. I never said it in any threatening way. I was not upset. You cannot compare apples to oranges. If you want to do that, does Phaedra sitting on the reunion couch with her taser ready for me count? Okay, moving on.
Tell us about your first interaction with Brit and why you feel like she misinterpreted your energy.
Oh, I don't think she misinterpreted anything. It was all very calculated. So the first interaction I had with all of the ladies was actually really pleasant. I was excited to meet them. It was season 16. I'm like, oh my God, this is season 16. The only one standing that's a real OG, 12, 13 years in, and I felt like I could be mother to everyone. Not mother, okay? Show these girls I've been through the fire. I know what it's like to be a newbie. I know what it's like to be here. I know everything that could possibly happen has happened to me on this show. And I felt like I could speak, as someone that could be supportive, could read a girl if she's wrong. And my first interaction with all of the newbies, I was like, oh, you girls are so pretty. Kelly was there. Brittany was there. Everyone was there except for Angela at the moment, and also Drew. And I just remember coming in just being very pleasant to everyone. And there was an issue.
I will say this. When this first happened, before we've seen the episodes, I was like, there had to be more interaction between Kenya Moore and Brit Eady. There had to be more. There had to be something. What we've seen on the show is that there wasn't more. The first time that these two met and filmed together was at Shamia's birthday party. And Kenya asked about the wedding band. And as you saw from episode 1 to episode 5, well, at least episode 4, Brit Eady kept on bringing up that moment. There wasn't anything else. Except, according to Portia says that when they had that fight at the bank, it was a lot longer than what we saw during the episode. Still, does that warrant threatening of pistols and whips? No.
Out a ring that someone made. I feel as though that was clearly a made-up issue. If someone has an engagement ring on and not a wedding band, not the other way around, because if you just have on one ring and it's just a circular ring, that's usually a wedding band. Now, you could choose to wear whatever you want to wear on your hand. No one's saying that. I was confused at what she was saying about it being a new ring or a different ring, or her second ring is actually what she said. I'm like, oh, you've been married before? I don't know this girl. I never seen her before in my life. So again, you're wearing an engagement ring. I'm assuming that either you're engaged or you're I don't think you could be anything else. I think
Speaking of rings, when I saw the trailer for this, I was like, what's that on Kenya's left hand? What is that ring? That's the real question. Kenya, what's that ring? Are you engaged? Are you dating someone? What is going on? What's that ring? If we are talking about rings, what's that ring on your finger? Just that, since we're asking about rings and wedding, and like she looks more married than Brit Eady's left hand. But okay, fine.
And knowing I'm being shady, I think they call me the shade assassin for a reason. That wasn't shady.
we know what my shady looks like. Let's move on. It wasn't shady. So after I saw her and, we had the whole moment again about the hug was a very awkward. I don't like to hug. If you see me out in public, I will probably never hug you because I do believe people transfer energy to you and you have to really kind of know someone and know where they're coming from to hug them. So I don't really hug people that I don't know. That's not a crime. That is a boundary that I have for myself, and people need to respect that. It's not personal. Then we get to the next time I see her, the Balmain event. I'm like, oh, you look so beautiful, like a Balmain Barbie. Look at me. Hi, Balmain Barbie. How are you? Hi. You know, I hugged her then, hugged her when I saw her another time, hugged her at the dinner.
That was a pat. That was a pat. That wasn't a hug.
That's a hug without getting makeup on me. And she was complaining every step of the way. And I'm like, this girl has very bad energy, but I paid it dust. And I just went on to have a good time because I was actually having a really good time at the dinner before it went left. So the whole thing about being targeted, her being targeted by me, people asking her if I did something to her, she can't answer why, because it didn't happen. Do you want to know what I really think happened? I think that when she was interviewing for Real Housewives of Atlanta, she wanted the villain role. She wanted to come after me because she felt like, okay, well, Portia wasn't there at the time. I was, right? And I believe that she made them promises that she was going to come after me. She was going to be this girl that can read, this girl that was doing all this, you know, and
I will say this, y'all, and I said this before the season even started, based off of what we were seeing on social media, I really thought we were going to get like something from Brit Eady. I was like, she's going to be the one to watch, only for her to be the most boring of the newbies. Like, you're not really bringing much of anything. And the much of anything about you right now is about your beef with Kenya. So it will be interesting what the rest of the season will look like. Maybe she's going to lean into being the villain, especially because she does end up having beef with Angela. She ends up, Angela, girl, the streets are talking. I haven't talked yet, but I will. Angela, the streets are talking. Okay, we'll get back to that another day, another time, okay? All right. So Brit Eady ends up having beef with Shamia, talking about Shamia's child. I don't know if I should say allegedly, but I'll say allegedly because Shamia said that's what happened. But I guess we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But all right.
when she met me, Portia flushed this out. She was surprised and thrown off that I was so nice because I am nice. I don't really bother people unless they bother me. We know I retaliate. We know that's what I do. I'm not saying it's always right, but I'm not going to let anybody run over me. And I have no reason to not like someone that I don't know. And I was always nice to the girls. The point is, I think she overpromised what she would do on the show. The first 3 weeks of filming, she was exceptionally boring. There was nothing outstanding about her. She didn't come in. She wasn't dressed in designer clothes from head to toe. Her husband wasn't.
Normally, I would just think this is shade from Kenya. But based off what we've seen ourselves, I'm like, she's not lying. And she's talking about 3 weeks into filming. Where we're at with episode 6, we're probably like 2 months into filming. Damn.
Really interesting. Like, no, not trying to throw shade in the husband. Sorry about that. But there was just nothing in the group scenes that I saw her in that made me think, oh, that's a star baby. I was actually more captivated by Kelly and Angela. And of course, I knew Shamia already. I knew her personality. But she was failing. Like, she was dull. Okay? So
There's another element that I want our audience to keep in mind when we think about Kenya, when Kenya comes into filming reality television. Remember, Kenya is an actress, a producer, but also has done reality television for 10 plus years. So I'm sure she comes in with a perspective on how things should be produced. So there is an element, I think, that in her perspective, she's looking at some of these newbies and she's just like, you're not bringing it. That's not how you should be playing this. So I just want to add that element. This is my review. I'm breaking down, for those that are just joining us, Kenya Moore tells all. And as I said, burns a Bravo bridge, but I'll explain in a minute.
When she kept trying to come after me, and I just was like, okay, girl, I see you. You're trying to have a moment. You're falling flat. This is your 3 weeks in. Producers are probably asking you, girl, when are you going to show up? And you thought, okay, I'm going to show up tonight. And I think was her downfall from there. This is the biggest question that I have for the people that come on reality TV that have a shady past, that you're not proud of. Okay, we've all done things in our past we're not proud of. Nobody was perfect. To the Simons, to the Chrisleys, it went from someone saying you're 17, age of consent, to, oh, wait, that's not going to track. Okay, let me just say I was underage. No. So that's what I just don't understand. Like, I'm not even going to open that can of worms because my whole question and line of questioning would be completely different from everyone.
I will say this. Again, this is not excuse. We're breaking things down. Please understand we're not excusing either person in this situation. But we saw some of what's been playing out these last couple of episodes and the victimhood that we're seeing Brit try to spin these last couple of episodes since the incident happened. And yeah, she is the victim. But there was a lot of leaning in certain verbiage that she was using that I felt she was being manipulative intentionally to protect herself. And is that wrong to keep your job, this job, this big opportunity that you probably wanted your entire life? Yeah, but here's the thing. The audience is also not dumb. They're like, I see what you're doing there. Okay. I see what you're doing there. But okay, that's my opinion.
Everybody else's. I would want to know, if you're going to make us Staley, you need to prove. Because we already know you're capable of lying, right? Excuse me 1 second. Okay, wow. Another Google alert. Okay, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. I don't understand why any person would come on reality TV when they have done things in the past or are currently doing things that they don't want to be found out. Why? And then to give someone a reason to expose you. In the words of Samuel L. Jackson, am I the only sane mother? Like really? Am I the only sane person in the room? Why? Because they're so egotistical, they don't think they'll be found out. Like, okay, wow. You paid to scrub the internet out of your home words. Okay. Well, they left some dust in the corner and over there and behind there too. A lot of people say that I had never taken accountability for anything, and that's simply not true. And I went on Tamron Hall. I was promoting my daughter's book. The issue came up, and I said, I take full accountability. I'm not playing a victim. I'm telling my own truth. I ultimately chose to go on Tamron Hall.
Pause. For accountability, and everyone's going to have a different definition on what accountability looks like. But with accountability, yes, she says, I take accountability. However, would accountability include making amends with and apologizing to Brit Eady? And I know Brit Eady was wrong for what she did, but Brit Eady also apologized, as we saw. Forced apology, maybe. But she does apologize and even wrote a lovely note. And she bought $250 worth of flowers. That seems like that would be a part of taking accountability, saying, you know what, I was wrong for doing that. I apologize to Brit Eady for doing that. Okay. Take a listen to this.
Because I really needed to publicly take accountability for my actions. I mean, sharing that photo at my own salon opening was a serious lapse in judgment. Everybody can possibly now understand that it was definitely not the smartest thing to do. And I deeply regret that I hurt anyone that was involved, including the cast, including Brittany, including the crew, including any of the guests that were there to come to celebrate me. I mean, this platform gave me a chance to sincerely apologize and not to excuse what I did, but to own it fully. Sometimes the things that you do can come back and they can hurt you. And as I've said here before, I definitely did not. I escalated the situation. I didn't need to. Kim Fields, okay? People are so mad. That was 6-7 years ago, and rightfully so. I issued a public apology to Kim when I was on Watch What Happens Live. They asked me, is there anything that I regret? And I was like, absolutely. I think you learn from regret. But for me, I definitely regretted pulling her chair. That was not right. She's a class act, and we are over it. Like, she invited me to come on her show to film with her just last year, the Upshocks. So wrong. I do take accountability. Another time I've taken accountability is, and these are just from what I can remember off the top of my head, was with Phaedra. I did some things with Phaedra that crossed the line. She did absolutely things that crossed the line with me, but I apologize for my part and what I did to contribute to the downfall of our friendship.
So you guys see here, she talks about the Kim Fields, she talks about the Phaedra, and her taking accountability. This is the section of her video where she's talking about accountability, but she also talks about apologizing to Kim Fields and to Phaedra Parks. Just putting it out there. Just saying. All right, moving on.
And that was on the show. So I'm not sure why people didn't acknowledge that was taking accountability, but I absolutely did in that moment too. I'm not playing a victim. I am in this situation partly because of my choices. Back to the original point, I have taken accountability. So you guys just choose not to see it. It's okay, but I'm just going to remind you. So now it's time for a commercial break. And since people want to talk,
I like that she takes this moment to bring it back to what we've been saying. And I know Kenya is watching the video. She's watching every think piece and tweet and things like that because she takes this time because everyone's watching to bring it back to the hair spa and the hair care business.
about snatching edges because you can get real close. These are my edges. You can even see the little gray hairs. Okay, this is not a lace front. This is my hair. Well, not this, but this is my hair and these are my edges. I developed Kenya Moore Hair Care similarly to why I developed a product line as well as a spa. I love making women look and feel good. Like, I love when women come into the salon or use my products and leave reviews and say, my hair has transformed. I have had so many customers and positive reviews before any housewives drama had anything to do with it. My customers say more edges work. So try more edges today. You can find them online or you can come into the shop or you can go to CVS or Sally. So they all have different products, but we're also going to be back on Amazon. So check it out there.
Okay. So first of all, I double check because remember there was a report that Kenya Moore Hair Care was going to be removed from Sally's. It's still there. In 2025, it's still there. She says it's going to be CVS, and now it's coming back to Amazon. Kenya, I know you're going to see this video. Take it to TikTok. Everyone's doing very well over there in TikTok. Just saying. I'm always giving advice.
Kenya Moore Hair Care. We're going to get into even more receipts, okay? I'm going to be answering questions that you guys have submitted. And don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe. Because if you don't, you won't get any notifications when I drop something.
And since you're watching this on my channel, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and do all the things, all right? And if you haven't liked the video already, be sure to like it now. If you're a member of the channel, I will be dropping the call-in link for you guys exclusively. So stay tuned for that. We will be dropping the call-in link for our Royal Court members and Senior Royals first, then our Team Kempire members. We appreciate your support. All right.
You or when the juicy gossip hits the net first. You hear it from me first, right here.
People are saying, why didn't you go to the producers if you were so afraid?
The answer is I did. I did go to producers. Number one, when we were there, Portia and I stayed back while everyone was leaving and Brit, Eady was irate. She was yelling and screaming. And it was then that I heard her say the following words. That's why I keep a for like you. Let me repeat that. You didn't hear it. I heard it. It didn't make the edit. That's why I keep a for like you. Yep.
I'll clean it up for you. Wait, I wrote it down. That's why I keep a pistol, I think she said, for B words like you. So remember, we watched the edited version of that incident, and that was enough for us. That was enough for us. So can you imagine the unedited version that Bravo reviewed for their investigation where they said they found that Brit Eady did not break any policies? What? What does that mean? Oh, she didn't have a pow 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 on her when you guys checked weeks later? Okay. All right.
And screaming as she's going out, irate. I heard things knocking around. Like, I didn't know what was going on. I immediately went to the showrunner, the executive producer, and I said, what is going on? Why is she talking about what is happening? Like, Portia can tell you that. She saw the reaction on my face. She saw that I was visibly shaken. And I was like, just trying to figure things out. So I did go to the producer. Not only did I go to the producer then, I also went to the production company that night, explained what happened, and said, I don't know what's going on. We're 3 weeks into filming, and this girl we don't know is threatening to unalive me.
So Kenya says that she went to producers at the moment when this happened and told them what Brit Eady had said. Okay, so they can go back and roll the video, listen to the audio. They could do that. She was still wearing her mic when she walked away from Kenya. She was still cussing and cursing, like, F all these cameras. So she's saying that production was fully aware in the moment. Okay. I find it interesting because some of the other housewives have said that they didn't hear anything. I saw Kelly said that she heard it, but she didn't know that it was directed at Kenya. Who did you think that it was directed at? That's confusing. That's weird, but all right.
I've been on this show for 12 seasons. I have never once had anyone threaten me with I have not ever had anyone allude to unaliving me. So I took it seriously because it's one thing if, listen, it would never be right. But if a Portia or, even a Drew or somebody that we know that has something to lose, did you hear me say that? If it was someone that we already knew, that we had been filming with for years, and we know that they have something to lose, maybe I would have taken it differently. But when someone you don't know, who basically, in my words, like you just, you found off the street, is doing all of that, you guys weren't there. You do not know how intense it got. It got so intense. So I did make my complaint. Well, I went to the police before, and honestly, I'm the only cast member there that's ever been physically attacked. Whether you say I deserved it, whether you say I did this or did that, it's obviously a polarizing conversation, and it was back then. But I was, and still am, the only one on the show that was physically attacked. So when someone is new to me coming around and saying that they are going to unalive me and use a on me, and then what you heard 2 or 3 more times saying they had whips and MF, that wasn't about the neighborhood. When you try to change the narrative to make it benefit you because of your inaction, that's rigging the game. You're rigging the game. You clearly rigged the game against me. Listen, I'm going to leave it right there. I did what I was supposed to do. And I take a lot of umbrage to someone now saying that they didn't have a gun. And so somehow that's supposed to absolve them from everything that happened after.
So here's the thing. Kenya did what she was supposed to do. She went to production. Seemingly, she went to human resources. But this still does not absolve Kenya from doing what she did. What she should have done is said, well, I've already told you guys I don't feel comfortable with Brit. She's not invited. She should not be at my hair event, at my hair spa grand opening. But again, I do believe Kenya did a lot of this because last season they filmed at her hair care spa and they never showed it. And she was very upset about that. She talked about that in the Carlos King interview. Now, I feel like the only reason why she allowed Brit to film and be there was because she wanted to make sure that Brit was there for what she was going to do, for the theatrics of what she was going to do. And she wanted to have that moment. Because again, if you are truly uncomfortable, Brit, you made complaints, I would have just rolled that out. It's like, I do not want her here. Because you could literally say to her, she should not be at my event. I am uncomfortable. And you document that. especially right now. Bravo is on thin ice when it comes to what people are saying from production and talent are saying about their work environment being toxic and not supportive of their talent or their crew.
They're going to show this clip where she said prior to Housewives that she keeps a gun at all times. Roll it.
Keep my pistol with me always. Always.
Security that's at the gas station?
I only go to gas stations that have security there. I only go to the same gas station if I'm in the city.
Yeah.
On her Instagram, she said that wasn't her character. She did not threaten anyone with, she did not have a, she never said anything about. So we know that that was a complete lie. So we already know you're a liar. We already know she's capable of lying and trying to rig the game. Let's go back to this whole Watch What Happens Live interview where Andy asked her, did she have a gun? And she said, oh, no, I didn't have a gun. Well, I have proof otherwise. Nobody checked bags when we're filming. Nobody checked cars when we're filming. You show up, you go inside, and you start to film. But weeks later, you want to say, oh, we had an investigation and found that you weren't in violation of the gun policy. Really, bitch? I did what I did. I complained to HR. I did all these other things. Now you want to do an investigation? 3 weeks have gone by because someone said it. Well, we already know that person is a liar, right? Because we have proof, solid proof from her on Instagram, and she lied about talking about the gun that night. So we already know you're a liar. And now we're...
Question to the audience. Do we believe Brit Eady had a pow, pow, pow on her or in her car on the night of this incident? I believe she did. I mean, it's going to be hard to prove, but remember when we recapped this, I brought up what Andy Cohen said. He legally was covering Bravo, NBC Universal by saying that there was an investigation into Brit Eady, and we found, here's where he failed everyone, including the network, where he said, and it was discovered that you did not break any policies. We heard her, unless you're telling me threats of violence is not covered in Bravo and NBC Universal's policies. Because if not, then you have a bigger problem. And this is, again, where Kenya should have just proceeded forward legally as opposed to anything else she's done since then. Okay.
Investigating something 3 weeks after the fact because of what someone said that wants to keep their job? Oh, okay, that's okay. Hey, did you have a gun that night? No. Okay, investigation closed. Can you go to the airport and say you have a and not get arrested? Can you go to the bank and say you have a gun and not get arrested? Can you go any place that it will put people in danger and say you have a gun and not be committing a crime? That's not a crime. That's not against policy. I'm just asking the question. Can you go to your job tomorrow and say, you, Joe, you gonna learn today? You don't know who the I am, Joe. You, Joe. You gonna have some respect around here. I got whips. That's why I keep a for like you, Joe.
I'm going straight to police.
You going to HR and the police. If that happened on Beverly Hills.
Kenya's been watching our recap, but it's true. Like you can't deny. I know a lot of fans watch this show. Oh, it's entertainment. It's entertainment. Please get that out of your mind. This is still a work environment. These are coworkers. At this particular point, none of them are really friends. They're just coworkers. This is a work environment for both people. At Kenya's hair spa event, but also at this filming event with Brit Eady. Immediately, they should have stepped in and did something. I got questions for Bravo.
You think she would be in jail or punished or out of a job? You think if she had said that to Kyle or Teresa Giudice or any other housewife on any other show, do you think she would still have a job? I'm just asking the question.
Here's the other thing. We brought this up too. Literally in the last season of Real Housewives of New Jersey, we had that physical altercation between Jennifer Aydin and Danielle Cabral. They both were suspended. That was the word on the street. They both were suspended, and I don't know what the resolution, because again, these investigations are confidential. So we don't know what the resolution was. I'm guessing they just decided, yes, we can film together. I'm sure they had to have a conversation where it says, I feel comfortable filming with this person or not. God. All right, let me get back to this.
It's been handled differently. I would have never felt a need to protect myself or escalate the situation. People go, oh, well, how is that protecting yourself? Because where I'm not even mention where I'm from. Where I'm from, and you may end up having to delete this, but I'm going to say it. You tell me if it's too hard. You going to HR and the police. If that happened on Beverly Hills.
I'm sorry, y'all. I had to move myself out of the camera so we could see what the statement was. So I'm gonna get back to that part, and then we're going to see what exactly was said or not said.
You think she would be in jail or punished or out of a job? You think if she had said that to Kyle or Teresa Giudice or any other housewife on any other show, do you think she would still have a job? I'm just asking the question. Things been handled differently. I would have never felt a need to protect myself or escalate the situation. People go, oh, well, how is that protecting yourself? Because where I'm not even mention where I'm from. Where I'm from, and you may end up having to delete this, but I'm going to say it. You tell me if it's too hard. So that's why
We got to get the lip reader on this. There's a lip reader on Instagram. We need to get the lip reader on this. I need her to break down exactly what Kenya said. Where are the lip readers? Kenya's going to regret putting this out. The lip reader is going to be all over this. I'm sending, can you break down what she said in this? I'm like, we already know she's from Detroit. What up, though? So that enough said, but okay.
Decision was made for me to escalate it in the way that I did. Because if you keep messing with me, I got more and more with you. So leave me alone. And that person likely will leave you alone. And they certainly wouldn't be going around playing victim. They would just go on about their business and find another target. That's that. You want the truth? That's the truth.
Do you not feel that your retaliation allowed the new girl to trick you out of your spot?
Ooh, I don't think there's any such thing. I already had a spot. How can somebody trick? It wasn't a spot up for grabs. Like nobody snatched a peach. Everybody.
I just wanted to explain that part because we've said this. It's not that she took your spot, but this was a major check for Kenya Moore. It was a major platform to highlight her business, her businesses, potential business. And the fact that this whole situation really just ruined this opportunity for her. Continued opportunity for her. Over Brit Eady. Again, you have too much to lose. I'm not messing with someone where I have too much to lose. You're not going to, even if they decided to edit out my hair care spa situation again, I'm not going to use maybe this one opportunity to ruin this check. Because remember, they're paid by episode. So she's only been paid up to episode, 5? So that's what we've been saying in regards to you allow Brit Eady to mess up your whole situation. Along with yourself, you made choices as well.
Had a peach. So nobody tricked me out on the spot. So that does make sense.
Do you feel like Cynthia threw you under the bus in his team Brit?
Pause. We know that face. Hey, Keish. That's one of our viewers. Okay. Do you feel like Cynthia threw you under the bus and is Team Brit? Not Team Brit.
I'm going to talk about Cynthia.
People want to know how much you make a season, honey.
How much I make a season? Well, I mean, I don't talk about money when it comes to like my own money. I see a lot of these crazy reports saying like my net worth is $800,000. My house is worth $3 million. Like, how is my net worth $800,000? Like, I own that much in cars. Like, just stop. Like, I think it's taggy to talk about money. So.
No, let's talk about it. Well, again, celebrity net worth and things like that. A lot of times these celebrities have said that they're inaccurate. But what she says makes a lot of sense. How could she be worth $800,000 and her home is worth $3 million? Your net worth is gathered, not by your paycheck on Bravo. It's your assets and things like that. So I thought this was interesting because I wanted to point out Kenya was definitely the second highest paid for this season of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Allegedly, I'll say. But yeah, she was definitely the second highest paid. I think Portia was the highest. I don't think, according to sources, Portia is the highest paid on this season of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Yeah. Right.
I'll just leave it at that. But I think it's decent to say that I make more than the girl on the show now. Thank you. Save my bill.
Thank you for reminding me because she didn't say anything about Cynthia. Because remember, Cynthia has done a couple of interviews. She just did the Carlos interview talking about the situation with Kenya and them not talking. And she doesn't understand why Kenya feels the way that she feels about her, but she doesn't feel the same way about the other women that have filmed and talked with Brit as well. We've talked about this endlessly, but Kenya decided not to talk about it at all. I don't know why she didn't. At least address your feelings on the situation. I would be interested to know. But again, at the end of this video, Kenya says there will be more videos. So hopefully she will finally address the Cynthia of it all. And if you think that Cynthia is going to be on Kenya's YouTube channel, I highly doubt it. Now that Kenya is not in a good place with the network, and despite what you guys want to say, please understand sources are telling me otherwise, not in a good place with the network. And yeah, you're not going to see a Portia. You're not going to see a Cynthia on her YouTube channel. And you're not going to see her on a Nene collab. Because remember Nene just said in the recent, what was it, episode 1? I know it's only 2 episodes. Where she says, that's my family. For all of you that thought that Nene was, power to the people. That's my family. That's what she said. I'm not lying. She said it on her. That's my family. Okay.
Stand by the bell.
Will you attend the reunion?
Will I attend the reunion? I haven't been invited to the reunion. In fact, I was invited and then disinvited a few months ago.
Now that was tea. There was a lot of stuff in here that I was like, okay, we already know. We knew what the response would be. She's done interviews. But for me, that was tea. Okay? So, yes, Aisha says, I hope she does Candy Speak on it. I thought she would do Candy Speak on it before she did her own YouTube. But I guess because Candy's been so busy and here in New York for her Broadway play, just saying, I think that's part of the reason why we haven't seen them do a Speak on it. But I was waiting for that. I thought that would happen before she did her own YouTube. But I have to say, production-wise, this is not bad for doing this on her own. If anything, it's a lot better than a lot of other folks. Just saying. All right. In regards to, I forgot my train of thought, but it's okay. We'll move on.
The disrespect is insane. From...
Now I remember. It's the being invited to the reunion. So they originally invited Kenya to the reunion and then disinvited her? I wonder why. And she says this happened months ago. So I wonder if it's because of the interviews that she did on Tamron Hall and the Shade Room. A lot of people, remember when we recapped her interview with Carlos, we were like, oh, doesn't look like she's coming back for season 16. Remember, this is before they finalized the contracts and they confirmed who was coming back. And it was just like, okay, things with the network seemed like they were shaking. We're like, is she not coming back? So she says they invited her to the reunion and disinvited her months ago. Remember, we're only on episode 6. So she's talking probably before they even started airing the episodes. Someone said that Sherry Shepherd was just on Speak On It. Yeah, because Sherry Shepherd's here in New York City and Candy's been here in New York City. So I think that's why. And even I think the other interview she did with her stylist based here in New York City. I think that's probably part of the reason why they haven't done a Speak On It. All right.
Me being someone who has always loved Real Housewives of Atlanta and always wanted to see them win, to being shut out, not given an opportunity to apologize the same way that they gave that grace to someone else on the show. I think it's really odd, right? And to be erased from history of the show, to not be in the opening credits, to not have confessionals. When Kim Zolciak...
What is it? Listen to these last few parts. What does this sound like to you? For people that remember the situation with Nene, the more that Kenya talks in this video, the more I'm like, ooh, this is sounding more and more like the Nene situation. All right. A lot of people on TikTok, Nene. The more she talks, pay attention to these last few minutes, the more she talks about it, I'm like, This is exactly what Nene was saying, what Nene was going through.
The show, she got a whole new show. She was in the Confessional. She was a peach holder. You got girls taking glasses and knocking each other upside the head with real glasses on Jersey. You've had people talking about porn on Jersey. You've had people exposing, a real life revenge porn case on Vanderpump Rules. They're working. They haven't been made to look like a scumbag or a villain. Really? That's how I'm treated? That's pretty bad, I would say. So I don't anticipate an invitation. Yeah, I don't see that.
Why didn't you promote the salon more?
I've always been struggling with building a team. That's why I always admired Andy so much, because she has this awesome team. She has an amazing team and she totally gets it. But you need help. And so when I'm just building out the salon and I'm out of all this money, $400,000, I'm fighting with the landlord about giving me my little $80,000 back in my TI. Obviously, I built a whole new, top floor, put all this money into it. And then thinking about, okay, now I'm going to put even more money in hiring a team and doing this and doing that. It just felt like I can handle it. Let's just, I'm not going to throw good money after bad. We're just going to let a year go by and see how it goes. I've been open for over a year and a half, about a year and a half, I think, at least a solid year. And what I have loved the most about this salon is the women, the customers that come in and are so happy with the results. The smiles, the repeat customers, like we have 85% repeat customers.
Y'all know I like facts. The fact that she's able to come out with a number, I'm like, oh, look, I don't have a hair salon, but the minute that I heard her talk about the business and how the business has been affected since the episodes have been airing, I was like, Kenya, I don't see this on social media. I don't see anyone saying that they're going to the Kenya Moore hair care spa or whatever it may be. Maybe you should, and this is what I said during the season, you should have been highlighting your business, recapping the episodes from your business, highlighting your business, even though they're not really including you in the season besides the group scenes. This would have been an opportunity to still highlight your business because people kept on talking about you. You were trending. We should be inside of your business. And I think if you haven't already, you should have had some influencers, these beauty influencers. There's tons of them in Atlanta coming through. You should have hosted maybe for a watch party. Well, maybe not a watch party at this point because you're not on the episodes, but you should have hosted influencers there so that they would create content and that would help promote your business. I've seen maybe one or two, but that was like early on. I haven't seen anything since, but that's just me. And no, I'm not trying to interview to be part of the team. I'm giving some free advice. I'm not saying it's going to make you millions of dollars, but I just feel like there are just so many little minor things that you could do that would help promote the business. And Steph asked a good question. When is the salon open? I want to know all of these details. Like these details should also be included in this video. Come on down, guys. We're going to have a grand opening, or not a grand opening, but you get what I'm saying. We're going to have a big event celebrating, the hair spa and or whatever it may be. Just saying. Like I said, there are plenty of influencers and bloggers that you could invite that are more than willing to come and do that for free. But I do think you will have to pay some of those bigger ones. Just saying. Okay, just a thought.
And then when the Housewives show airs and the whole scandal airs, I have all these strangers from all over the country leaving bad reviews. We go from 4.9 Google reviews rating to 4.4. And every day there's somebody saying something crazy to try to hurt my business. If you don't like me, you don't have to like me. If you don't like what I did, you don't have to like what I did. But why are you coming after my business? The same, it's a culture that it can be very beneficial to you because I have a lot of supporters and Team Twirl is awesome. But then when you have these bad seeds and people that don't think things through and just try to spew hate in your direction, that's what makes it really bad. That's not fair to the customers that really get great service when they come here. And it's up to them. If you don't want to come to the salon, stay at home. It's as simple as that. You don't have to come here. But why are you trying to ruin other people from coming here and having great experiences? I work so hard. Sometimes I'll step in and do a head spa. If I don't have a stylist, Walter can tell you that. If I don't have a stylist for the day or someone calls out, I don't want to let anyone.
Pause. Is Kenya a beautician? Like she's a licensed beautician? I didn't know. Okay. All right.
So I'll put, my shampoo gloves on. I'll shampoo someone's hair. Or I'll do a deep conditioning treatment because I want everyone to believe in the space and have an amazing time when they're here. And that was always my vision.
The girls want to know what you've got in the works.
Ew. I always keep these close to the vest until when it's almost out. So I have got a lot of different projects that people will be able to see me and my daughter in. And I'm just really so happy about that. But again, you don't know anything until after, it's in the can. You know what I mean? Even if I've been shot in a movie, I don't talk about the movie until I know it's being released and I've seen it and I'm in it.
I just wish she had done that for this video. Because that's been my biggest criticism on the release of this video, that so many people were waiting and waiting and waiting for this to finally come out. And I was like, Kenya, don't release this until it's ready. Like the 3 trailers that we had, we should have been getting all week. And then you should have dropped it when you knew it was ready to go. But again, people learn. Hopefully, if she decides she's going to drop another video, she will probably, announce it when it's ready to go.
So I want to thank you guys for listening to me today. Listen, we don't have time for everything. I'm not on RHOA right now, right? But my influence is still there. People are still obsessed. People are still using my taglines. People are still coming for me. And I'm not even there. So listen, I ain't still the moment. And I'm really happy that you guys enjoying me today. So comment and subscribe. And listen, I'm going to twirl out here. I'm still in my chair and I'm still twirling, honey. I'm still here. I'm still here. And I'm still the moment. Please don't let me fall out this chair. All right. See you next week.
She said, I'll see you next week. I said, is she kind of, what is she, maybe she will address people's questions in the comments section. Again, for those that can't find and still can't find Kenya Moore's YouTube channel, you have to put the @ symbol. You probably don't have to anymore because she has a certain amount of subscribers. I don't even know how many she has at this point, but she grew very quickly over there. For those that are trying to do YouTube, you won't build that quickly. Again, when you have a name, you could do that. All right. All right. Be sure to check her out at Kenya Moore Official. Kenya Moore Official. Put the @ symbol, it will come up for you. Okay? I know from refreshing yesterday, trying to see if the video would come up. But all right. All right. I want to say thank you. But before we do, since we're all doing infomercials and whatnot, we'll go to my infomercial. Shout out to our friends over at Butter for sponsoring today's video. More information on Butter will be available in the description. So I shared with you my morning skincare routine. Now I'm sharing my nighttime skincare routine, brought to you by our friends over at Butter. Over the last several weeks, we've partnered with Butter and I've been utilizing their skincare routine and I have been loving it. So let me share with you my nighttime skincare routine. It's very simple and it's made even simpler by our friends over at Butter. First, I start off with their cleanser. Wash your face with their cleanser. Then I use their silky soft towel, which I love. I love. They're disposable. They are quality. You shouldn't be using the same towel that you use to dry your body on your face. And then I'm using their retinol. People don't understand the benefits of retinol. Smaller pores, youthful skin. A lot of people don't even utilize this. You should. All you need next is their Cocoa Shea Moisturizer. As I've said before, they've made my routine a lot simpler because I've had to use a morning moisturizer versus what I use at night. With their Cocoa Shea Moisturizer, I can utilize it for my morning and my evening. I just put a little bit less on in the morning. At night, I put a little bit more. And that's it for my nighttime routine. One of the other big questions that people have asked me, is there a scent in the moisturizer? Very light scent. The other question people have asked me, is butter Black owned? Not only is it Black owned, their president is a Black woman. But of course, you also ask, can we get a discount? Of course, get 10% off when you use my link, butterskin.com/Kempire. More information on Butter will be available in the description. Thanks, Butter. All right. Hold on. Mr. Mel Magic, I appreciate you because I saw you were defending me in Kenya's a live chat. I saw that. Thank you so much for that. Y'all need to calm down. Y'all don't know these people. But it's okay. I already know. I've already said this about when it comes, and anytime I talk about Kenya, I understand. Please understand, Kenya appreciates my fairness in covering these stories. So, si sanseko for those of you. But again, I don't care. Keep watching. All right. Yeah, shout out to Butter, guys. More information on Butter will be available in the description. So, final thoughts. So, after watching this video, I kind of look at the situation, again, very similar to the Nene situation. And remember, there were rumors that Kenya was possibly seeking legal action. Honestly, she should have sought legal action right after the Brit Eady incident and the pistols and the whips conversation. And if Bravo did not stop filming or refuse to film with Kenya after she put her feet down or foot down on that situation, then she would even have even more of a legal opportunity in that situation. What hurt her is her reaction. But still, I wonder if I'm sure she has, because if she spoke to an attorney about the revenge P of it all, I'm sure she's talked to an employment attorney, hopefully, in regards to this situation. Because remember, she signed on for a full season. She didn't sign on for a part of a season. That's a lot of money left on the table. But okay. It will be interesting to see where Kenya will go from here. I just honestly don't believe she will go back to Bravo. And maybe she doesn't want to go back to Bravo. I feel like there are multiple things that have happened since this all has played out that have said, yeah, the situation between Kenya and Bravo is not a good situation. But when we talk about Kenya being wrong, we also have to talk about Brit Eady being wrong. We also have to talk about Bravo and NBC Universal being wrong. Because if Kenya has proof, and I'm sure she does, that she spoke to production, that she spoke to HR, and they didn't do anything in regards to the Brit Eady situation, when Andy said on Watch What Happens Live that they completed an investigation into Brit Eady, the incident that happened at the bank, and they found that Brit Eady didn't violate any policies. But again, this is probably the same HR department that said the same thing about Ramona Singer and brought her back multiple times. I mean, there's so many examples of Bravo and NBC Universal's inconsistencies with who they want and who they favor. No one's going to sit here and deny that. But Pam says they're all wrong if you ask. They are. But at the end of the day, Bravo and NBC Universal has a lot more to lose in regards to the situation. And they have a lot more responsibility on their hands when it comes to this. Look, let me say thank you, because we're going to take a few calls as well. If you're a member of the channel, we've dropped the call link for you guys already. Let me just say thank you, because we did have quite a few super chats, and we appreciate your super chats, guys. And shout out to the replay crew that are watching this. You may have missed it because you didn't expect I'll be live on a Saturday night, especially on a nice, warm Saturday night here in New York. Carmen, thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate your support. Born Blondie, thank you so much for the super sticker. We appreciate your support as well. Shout out to everyone watching on TikTok. Thank you guys so much for the gifts and the heart meets. We appreciate you. Roots, thank you so much for the super chat. Roots says, I've been waiting on you, Kempire. Sorry. I decided after I did my video earlier today, which set me back a few hours, I was like, no, I need to go outside and enjoy the good weather, because we don't know how long it will last here in New York. It could be back to like 50s this week, for all I know. So thank you so much, Roots. We appreciate it. JW, thank you so much for the super chat. JW says, Kenya was wrong, but so was Brit. Apparently, NBC Universal must have hired Bo Dietl to investigate both claims, because it doesn't make sense. If you watch Real Housewives of New Jersey, then you understand the Bo Dietl reference. Bodito's gonna come for you. Amir, thank you so much for the super chat. Happy Easter, everyone. Love from Ireland. Yes, happy Easter, everyone. Hope you guys, I know, and this is why I decided to do this today, because tomorrow everyone's gonna be spending time with their families on Easter. So after this, you're not gonna hear a word from me. Okay? So happy Easter, Amir. We appreciate you. Is that how you pronounce it, Amir? All right. Nicole, thank you so much for the super chat. Nicole says, a mess here? Always stay in the light no matter the low. I don't know what you were trying to say at the beginning there, Nicole. It's okay though, but we appreciate your support. Ashley, thank you so much for the super chat. Ashley says, Bravo needs to apologize to Kenya. I hate that Bravo continuously acts like the prize. The cast is the prize, especially Kenya. They don't treat the other franchises that way. Justice for Kenya. Tamara, thank you so much for the super chat. Tamara says, Kempire, I tagged you in the proof that Brit Eady was not an insurance agent. Her license expired in 2022. She fell out with much of the cast. Remember, I think that was in regards to her license. I think her license, it didn't say that it was, what was the word? I don't think it's expired. But again, Brit has been caught in so many different lies. Like, even when she said that she was under investigation, we didn't believe her because she had told Shamia that her license was suspended. Only for us to find out, it was under investigation. And she said on Watch What Happens Live that she still has it. Okay. Jamie, thank you so much for the super chat. Jamie says, unfortunately, Kenya opened the door for Bravo to put her on pause. And my cynical side feels like it's about Bravo wanting to save money. Could be. Again, we've talked about this endlessly in regards to what Kenya did. And she just gave them a reason. She really just gave them a reason. Mama Ali, thank you so much for the super chat. Mama Ali says, just looked up the Georgia pow 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 laws. If they, Bravo or Kenya, can prove Brit had a pow 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 when making that threat, Brit would lose her license to own and carry a pow pow pow. Again, though, when you investigate something like that and it's after the fact, how do you prove that? Unless it was caught on camera that she actually had it. But thank you for looking that up, Mama Ali. Wanda, thank you so much for the super chat. Wanda says, Brit and Kenya both were wrong. I'm over all of it. I know, Wanda. Can you imagine how I feel? Born Blondie, thank you so much for another super chat. Bravo couldn't afford these checks anymore. Yeah, I mean, it's expensive. That was the reason why they were saying that they couldn't bring Phaedra back the previous season, and that's why they brought her back to Married to Medicine, because it was within their budget. Remember, I think it was Carlos. Look, we cite our sources. Carlos had said that he had heard that. Anna, thank you so much for the super chat. Anna says, I wonder if the investigation cleared Brittany and production said to Kenya she needs to be there for the opening to be in the show. Kenya did that stunt to take back her power. If that is true, Anna, Kenya really should have then pulled the legal card and say, I don't feel comfortable. And if you guys allow her to be there, I'm gonna escalate this. Actually, I wouldn't even say that. I wouldn't even give them that threat. I would just be like, have my attorney give them that threat. But remember, Kenya, in a filmed scene, said that she didn't disinvite her. Could that have been production telling her to say that? Very possible, but I'm just adding context. Mama Ali, thank you so much for another super chat. I firmly believe you should not be allowed to leave a review unless you can prove you're a paid customer, and that's for all businesses. I'm so shocked that Google doesn't do a better job of that. Because you're right. Why are random people that have never been to your business able to leave a bad review? Like, that should never be allowed. But again, how many people rely on Google reviews? I think I don't know about a lot, but I know I will look at it. I don't know if I will hold that in high regard, especially knowing that anyone can leave a bad review, even if you've never been there. But you're right. They should not be allowed to do that. Tiara, thank you so much for the super chat. Tiara says, I was nervous, but it was actually pretty good. You were nervous because of the stop and start of the release. I was nervous, but it was actually pretty good. I didn't think she totally burned the house down, right? Here's why I said that I feel like she burned the bridge with Bravo, is because all the things that she was saying was very similar to the Nene of it all. And I felt like this is just sort of like the last effort. And basically, she's saying that Bravo didn't do what they were supposed to do. So she basically saying that I can't work with them anymore. She didn't say that, but that's how I took it. That was my interpretation for those that might disagree, but that's how I took it. Remember, I'm looking at this from a different perspective than a lot of you, as someone that has worked in human resources, and also as someone that knows a lot more about what's going on behind the scenes. And if you've been watching our recaps of Real Housewives of Atlanta, I've been telling you some of the things that have been going on behind the scenes. If you came to the Empire After Dark shows, I've been telling you some things. Ashley, thank you so much for the super chat. Ashley says, the irony of bringing Phaedra back and kicking Kenya off the same season, the subliminal shade. I also feel like, Bravo, I don't know who's advising you, because leaving in the Brit Eady accusation, what Brit Eady said, then saying that you did an investigation and you found nothing, even though we saw her threaten Kenya. And just including Kenya in this storyline throughout the season, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And then now Kenya's revealing that she, and I'm sure she can document that, yes, I did speak with production on this day and time, and I spoke to HR. Like, all that should be documented along with the investigation. Pageant Mommy, thank you so much for the super chat. Pageant Mommy says she's not speaking as though that she has an employment attorney, because they would advise her not to speak about the situation. I agree. That's why I know that she's not. I put it out there because, we look at the Karen of it all. She had attorneys and she did a lot of things that you would think an attorney would not advise you to do. So I'm assuming as well that she doesn't have an employment attorney that she's working with in regards to this. Thank you all for the super chats, guys. Don't forget, you can also like the video. If you're a member of the channel, I've already dropped the call link for members only to call in, because I'm not going to be here much longer. We've been talking almost for an hour and a half. But if you're part of the replay crew, as always, be sure to share your thoughts, opinions in the comment section. But as always, be mindful. Don't attack people for their opinions. Don't attack me for my opinion, because I'm not going to see it, because I'm not going back to the comment section. Sorry. Not sorry. But as always, we do not moderate adults. Okay? All right. Let's take some calls from our members. Okay. I'm putting up the disclaimer. The opinions of the callers do not represent the opinions of myself, the Empire LLC, or our sponsors. Speaking of our sponsors, don't forget to check out the description for our Rose Forever collaboration, and of course, our 10% off discount for our collaboration with Butter. All right? Tiara says, no, I agree. No, Kemp, I agree with you. I was just nervous she was going to crash out and sound erratic like her post. Damn. I know. Okay. All right. Yeah. And because remember, okay, we talked about this, and I don't like to repeat everything that we've talked about already in these other recaps, but it's okay. If you missed any of our Real Housewives of Atlanta recaps, we've talked extensively about this Kenya of it all. I didn't think that we would still be talking about it, especially because in this week's episode, I'm thinking that they're not going to even be talking about Kenya. They're definitely going to be talking about you, though, Angela. Okay. Let's bring up Taurus with the T. Taurus with the T, what did you want to share?
Hi, Kemp. I hope you had a great walk today. I wish I went out for a walk, but you inspired me to go out tomorrow.
Yeah.
I want to call in just to say really quickly that I'm frustrated with Kenya just because she looked down and she frowned upon like the stuff that was happening with Nene, and the way how she was just like very boisterous and saying that she burned bridges and like she'll never get her job back. And she is essentially doing the same thing. I really wish she was a lot more tactful in just handling this professionally and legally instead of stooping down to what Brit did, because a lot of what she said in her apology just sounds like justification. Doesn't really seem sincere, but I will give her credit. She looks amazing. The production looks amazing. And I personally will keep watching to hear her side. She needs to like really shift focus and make it more about her businesses going forward and like wrap this up before the season even comes around. Like if they're not letting you come to the reunion, girl, say what you have to say, wrap it up real cute, and be fruitful in other areas.
Yeah. It makes me wonder, though, why they decided not to. Why they invited Kenya to the reunion and then disinvited her. Was it something that she said on social media? Because why would you disinvite her? Was it something that you said in the interviews?
I'm sorry. I think it's part to be either spiteful on part of the network or because Brit probably said something about it.
Okay.
I'll keep watching. Bye, Kemp.
Thanks, Taurus with the T. All right. Yeah, because for me, that's interesting timing. Like, why did they disinvite her to the reunion? I've said, no matter how we feel about you right or wrong, or I feel like if you're going to include this into the season, I think you should bring all parties so that each party can tell their side. But okay. Mama Allie's reminding y'all, do not tell the callers or chat to shut up. Come on, y'all are grown adults in the chat. I'm gonna start blocking some of y'all. Stop. Grow up. All right. Nelson, the Virgo's backstage. Nelson, what did you want to share?
Hi, Camp. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
Okay, so the couple thoughts that I had about the interview, I definitely share your same sentiment on Kenya did this at her event because they filmed her salon last season, and it didn't get posted on the show because there was no drama. And unfortunately, she thought that picking this situation as the thing to put to, I guess, attach it to the show. I just feel like she was stuck in a place where, like, how is it that I can get my salon on TV, but like, I mean, this wasn't the right thing at the end of the day. Like, choosing to do what you did just wasn't it. So I just feel bad that this is how it went. But I do hope that she, instead of like going, like, she can start the route of like starting talking about RHOA, but then just shift it into just focusing on showing your salon, because that's what people want to see anyway. So I just hope that I know we're not going to probably get Kenya in the future, but it's unfortunate that this is exactly what and it's so unfortunate that we're even saying that this Nene, but this is exactly the same thing that Nene was saying. She's just singing a different tune, and it just sucks. But have a good night. And yeah, New York was really hot today too, and I definitely did take the walk. So smorgasbord tomorrow. Bye, Camp.
Well, here's the thing too, and I've been saying this in regards to Nene's lawsuit against the network, and it's very interesting to see Nene now back into the good graces. And one of the things that I said, I don't remember if I said it during Empire After Dark, one of those shows, or if I said it here, but I feel as if Nene and them settling with Nene, meaning them going through mediation. Remember, they were in mediation after she dismissed her lawsuit. I felt like them mending fences with Nene was strategic. It wasn't just fact that they wanted to bring Nene back. I felt like it was strategic. They were getting a lot of backlash from the Bethany of it all, the cast, Brandy speaking out, Rachel speaking out, then this Kenya incident. So I feel like them bringing Nene back in was sort of like their chess move in the situation. That's my opinion. I'm not saying that's fact, but that was my opinion, because they were in mediation for a long time. But okay. All right. Miss Sharon's backstage. We're going to bring Miss Sharon up next. Miss Sharon, what did you want to share?
Hey, Campfire, how you doing?
Well, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Get ready for the change of weather, because rain is coming your way.
You know what? Okay.
I'm sorry, Campfire.
It's okay.
But no, I can understand what Kenya did, but I don't agree with it. Kenya is an Aquarius, and we will get you back. If you do us wrong, we will get you back. But we won't think it through either. But I wouldn't have did that, but I can understand it. Now, Kenya's hairspot isn't open. The mail people can't even deliver mail there because nobody's there.
Where'd you get that from?
That's what a lot of people have been saying.
Okay. Well, let's not say what hearsay is saying. Unless you've done it yourself. If you've gone there and you've seen that it's not, that's one thing. I don't want us to continue the narrative. Oh, it's not open. Unless you've gone there yourself. Let's not speculate on what you've heard someone else say.
Okay. I can understand that.
Okay.
But yeah, I just want to say, as a fellow Aquarius, I can understand what Kenya did, but I wouldn't have done it myself. I would have did something else, but not that.
Okay.
And that's
I don't even ask you what you would have done.
All right, bye, Campfire.
Thank you so much. Never know. She said rain's coming my way. What? Okay. All right. Kayla's backstage. We're going to bring Kayla up next. Kayla, what did you want to share?
Good evening, Campfire. How are you? Happy Easter.
Well, how are you?
Good. So I feel like the production and the value of Kenya's entire video was great. She looked amazing. I am also from Detroit, so I guess I should say, what up, though? And
Yes.
she is also an Aquarius, and so am I. So all the Aquariuses are coming out to defend Kenya tonight, I see. But I do feel like Bravo was really wrong in eliminating her and not Brit. They should have either eliminated the both of them or like put Kenya on a pause or something like that. But You remember when Nene and Cynthia in one of those seasons they were planning a vacation and Nene was like, I don't want to do ABC.com, honey. This is low budget and high budget. Kenya is high budget. You should have went with the high budget and kept that one if you was gonna keep one of the two and get rid of the low budget.
Oh,
And side note, Brit Eady is. Does anybody else find her voice like super like nasally and not in the funny, cute way like Fran Drescher, or no? Is it just me?
everyone calls in and they make a mention of it.
Okay, because I only like that nasaliness from her, that '90s magic nostalgia, not this low budgetness. But it's cool.
Okay. Thanks, Kayla.
Thank you.
Bye. If you watch some of the old videos with Brit Eady, her voice sounds different. So I'm guessing it's a result of her nose job. So that might be it. It's a medical condition. All right. Angel's backstage with bring Angel up next. Angel, what's going on?
Hey, Kim Pryor, you guys got me dying. Okay, so I was just going to say, I've never been a teen twirl, but as another Aquarius, I do see Kenya and I know what she did. I understand why she did it, but she took it way, way, way too low below the belt. But I think it's as a result of HR failing her. As a contracted employee or at will, whatever, she went to her HR people and asked them to protect her, and they failed her on that. So she took it into her own hands. And I can totally relate to that because I had a job where I had a new boss come in, and on day 3, he sexually harassed me. I took it to HR, and a month later, they gave me a settlement talking about we're going in a different direction. It's because it was at will. And before I took the settlement, I did talk to some employment lawyers, and no one wanted to touch it. So I took the settlement, and then fast forward a year later, because I was friends with a lot of my former employees, they were like, oh, Angel, he finally got fired after 9 more sexual harassment cases. Sometimes, yeah, it's 9. Sometimes employers just don't care and think that if they have enough money to like work around it, like if they can put Kenya on pause and still get whatever ratings they thought they were going to get and like make more money out of the uproar they've caused, they're going to do that and then probably bring Kenya back in a year or so and make nice like they're doing with Nene right now.
Possible.
That's it, Kemp. Have a good night. Thank you for the live.
I'm so sorry that happened to you. Was it a good settlement though?
It was okay, but I tried to get more at the end of it, but still no lawyer wants to touch it because it's just messy, even with all the proof that I had and other witnesses saying, yeah, this guy was like a dirtbag. So it just depends.
The attorneys didn't want to touch it. That's so interesting.
Very interesting. I wish I knew because I think I would have gotten a lot more money out of it.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for calling in, Angel.
No problem. Have a good night, Kemp.
You too. Bye. I'm so sorry when you guys have those issues with your companies because I understand it. I mean, I'm grateful to be working for myself. However, I also understand how the work environment can be not the best and how HR fails a lot of people. A lot of people. I've seen that happen myself. All right. Nicole's backstage. We're going to bring Nicole up next. Nicole, what did you want to share about this Kenya Moore confessional?
Hey, beautiful vampire.
Hey.
It's been a long time, and I meant to say amethyst.
Oh, okay.
When you saw the chat. Yeah. The purple. I'm Aquarius. You know, early. That's why you're getting calls. But I want to say to you, I'm glad that you put me after this phone call with this woman in particular, because I know you HR, and I'm seeing it from both angles. I feel like both were wrong, and that's why we're so disappointed in Kenya because everybody's calling it crashing out, this new generation. No, you kept poking the bear. And so HR, when this woman that was just before me, she explained it because I went through the same situation through a multi-billion-dollar corporation. And I watched everybody around me didn't have my back. That's why I told you, if you go back to your old episodes when we talk about HR, I kept saying HR is never your friend. I feel like HR needs to be their own separate entity. Yeah. Like, leave people alone. And I feel like Kenya tried to do it the right way. She was wrong. But I feel like this woman, I'm 51, I watched her through her journey as Miss USA. And to see it crumble to this situation, I know she's listening. And I know she's listening to you because that's why she did that whole platform like she did. They both were wrong. But I hope she's taking your advice. I hope she's taking our advice. But HR is never your friend, sweetheart. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Nicole. Here's the thing, and I see all of your comments in regards to HR is not your friend. They're there for the company. That is true, but there are ways to utilize HR to protect yourself. There are ways, because there are requirements under human resources that they have to follow. So if you make a complaint, there's investigations. You should be keeping your own time frame, keeping your own notes, journal of everything that's happening. So yes, I'm saying report things to HR, but it's really for you to require HR to do their job. And then you document, well, I did go to HR. I had this conversation with HR on this date. This is what we talked about. And you can even send a follow-up to HR in an email. Well, this is what we discussed today per our meeting on such and such date. So you're utilizing HR. Yes, I don't believe HR is there for you. As I said to you before, I've seen how certain HR departments function, and all are not the same. All are not the same. There was a company that I worked for. It was a nonprofit that's now closed. But they had a separate HR department that was outside of the building. It was a whole separate other company. That for me is usually the ideal. Again, they're still going to work to the benefit of the company that's employing them. However, again, you can utilize them for your own documentation. Like, well, I went to HR, I did this, I spoke to this person on this date. And then this is how you take it from there if you have to take it to another level, meaning legally. All right, let me say thank you because we had a few more super chats. Thank you so much again, Tiara, for the super chat. We appreciate your support. Keith, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member. Keith says there's always going to be a thin line between doing your job and going below the belt when it comes to reality TV. When your job is based off of fighting, how do you know what's going below the belt? I think because of how reality TV and bad behavior has been rewarded over the years, the low gets lower and lower and lower. And that's what we're seeing a lot happen with some of these reality TV stars. Mel, thank you so much for the super chat. Mel says, Kenya needed to show Brit the door, just like she did to Portia, showing up to her housewarming uninvited after dragging her ponytail. Good night, laughing out loud. Yeah. Just Jess, thank you so much for the super chat. And I believe it was Cynthia who said in an interview when she spoke to Brit at the event that she was like, be prepared that Kenya might end up having security take you out. So that's what Cynthia thought would happen. She didn't think that it would escalate. I don't think anyone thought it would escalate to what it escalated to. Jess, thank you so much for the super chat. Jess says, I'm over this woo woo woo, Kenya. Move on to more important things like your business. Happy Easter, everyone. No woo woo woo. Come on. Woo woo woo. I mean, look, I think that is a very mature response and advice that you're giving, because at the end of the day, what you're understanding here is that this Bravo check is not going to always be there. And what you're trying to build is more off your hair care business and other opportunities. And I think a lot of people, when they look at the Kenyas and they look at the Nenes and things like that, and they're like, what have they built outside of Real Housewives of Atlanta that's thriving? And a lot of people would say, well, this hair care business. But now you're still a part of this Bravo network, and now you did this at your part of your hair care empire. And we've talked about this every single week since this season started, that potentially that you could have had investors there, people that wanted to work with you, and you did this. You weren't looking at the bigger picture. You were just looking at getting back at Brit Eady. Honestly, if you're going to do another video, Kenya, because I know you'll see this, if you're going to do another video, do a tutorial, host an event with everyone getting their hair done and things like that at the hair spa. Make it beneficial because people are going to be tuned in. No matter how you feel about Kenya Moore, there is an audience for Kenya Moore. How many people she got subscribed now? Hold on, please hold. She's got 23,000 subscribers in the last 24 hours. Well, not 23 total, but the last time I checked, when I was checking for the video, she was at 5,000 because people couldn't find the channel, but now people can find the channel. Is now at 23,000. There's an audience. Portia's at 20. Hold on. This is from Portia posting. She's posted multiple videos. Portia has now 27,000. So there's an audience for these women, and people do want to hear from Kenya Moore. So there is still an audience for Kenya. And I get it. People are still. I'm paused. Hold on, y'all. I just realized that you can hear me, but you can't see me. Because look, this is the signal that I need to get off of here that I froze. There we go. And I'm back. I'm glad I figured out how to fix that. It is what it is. But as you can see, technical difficulties, things happen. But I'm a pro. I've been doing this for a long time. Come on now. Whoa, whoa, whoa. All right. All right. Let me say thank you. We had a super chat from Forever D. Forever D says, if Kenya did this as a result of the show not backing her, it reminds me of how Jussie pulled his stunt to prove he was being threatened. How dare you bring Jussie Smollett up into this situation? How dare you? How dare you? Born Blondie, thank you so much for the super chat. Born Blondie says, people, let's be real. Kenya could have blinked wrong, and baby, they were firing her. Real Housewives are a sinking ship. I wish Kenya would have been left. And I said this again during our recaps. I was like, I think she gave them a reason. They wanted a reason, and she gave it to them. But again, do I think this is the end of Kenya Moore? No. But I do think she needs to make some strategic moves going forward. You have your Kenya Moore hair care products. You have your spa. You could turn that around. You could really turn that around. Invite what's her name? Remember the lady that used to go to what's the name of it? She used to be on Bravo too. Oh, you guys know. You will tell me in just a second. Invite her over. Do a video with her. Okay? She was just on Bravo a couple of months ago? She was on Watch What Happens Live? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tanya. Oh, no, Tabitha. Yeah, somebody called Tabitha. Get in her DMs, Kenya. Have Tabitha come through, and y'all do an episode. And then you have it edited. Don't release it yet. Don't tell anybody you're doing it. Just film it, get it edited, and then... All right, I've been talking so long, and I forgot to have people waiting backstage. I am so sorry, Elijah. Elijah, what's going on?
Hey, Empire. I wanted to say, right, I think the video came out real good. I think that she did an amazing job, and she actually had, she at least, although she could have done it better, like timing wise, she released a quality product. I also want to say, I really don't know what else there is for Kenya to say, because everyone's like, she needs to take ownership. But what else is she going to say to make people content with her? Like, people don't like what she did. She's admitted that. She's got that. So I'm not really sure what else is there for her to do, and I think that she just needs to focus on going onwards and upwards. And if the show would like her, I don't know if it would be a good idea to go back or not, or maybe she should just leave them with the absence of her. You know what I'm saying? To kind of make them feel that burn a bit. But I am really disappointed on how Bravo handled it, the way they let, Miss Brit Teeth over here stay on the show as if she didn't do anything. And then she goes on Watch What Happens Live. They ask her, what did Kenya do to you? There's no answer. And then for him to say the investigation thing, I'm like, that was not no investigation. How were they supposed to know that she didn't have a firearm with her? That just doesn't make any sense to me. And to me, it's like, I can understand that they didn't like her, they were tired of her, but that's not an excuse to do what they did. You know what I mean? And Kenya can be wrong, but Brit should also get some type of reprimandment, and they should at least let Kenya come to the reunion. You know what I'm saying? That should be like the bare minimum. You know what I mean? But I do think at least now maybe Kenya sees Nene's point of view on things. And I wonder how she feels about that. She probably doesn't think about it, but I think that she should, because she was also harsh on Nene when Nene left too. Yeah. So, I think that, she has an opportunity here. What I really can't stand, though, is people going to her business and writing terrible reviews. Yeah. Just because you see somebody on TV that acts a certain way, there's many, like Tiffany Pollard, like New York, she has a personality, but that's not who she is outside of it, because she said that many times. So just because someone is nasty on television doesn't mean that you go to their business and do all that. You know what I mean? And then I see certain bloggers calling her business. It's just weirdo behavior. It's weirdo behavior, and I think that's taking it too far. And I think one thing I've taken away is people need to learn how to separate their dislike for a person from facts and from what was really wrong. So yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Okay, thanks, Elijah. All right. I just saved a couple of comments that I wanted to talk about. Storm says, also Angie K from Salt Lake City has hair salons. They could do a collab video. Here's the problem, though, and this is why y'all don't like it when I say this, where I don't believe that Kenya and the network are in a good place, especially after some of the things she said on social media and after this video. no one from Bravo is going to touch her. Anyone that's currently on Bravo is going to collaborate with her. I'm just saying. I don't see it happening. Okay, that might be part of the reason why. Remember, Portia was doing the Upshaws, and then all of a sudden she saw Nene was doing it, and then all of a sudden she can't be around Nene. Because remember, Nene at that particular point hadn't settled with the network. So I don't see Angie K doing, but that would be brilliant. I do agree with you. That would be fantastic to see that, because that makes sense. But Johas agrees with me. Tabitha is no joke. I would love to see that. And Tabitha is not under contract with Bravo. I know she was recently there at Watch What Happens Live. That would be a real thing. Kenya, go send a DM. Send a DM to Tabitha right now and have her come to your hair spa. And then y'all record it and then release that as an edit. Just saying. All right. Noda Queen, thank you so much for being a member for the Super Chat. Noda Queen says, I just don't understand how Bravo didn't anticipate backlash from the Brit situation. I don't know why either. But maybe they feel like backlash, like any press is better than no press. Maybe that was their perspective. I don't know. It didn't make any sense to me. It also didn't make sense to me in regards to them including all of the Kenya stuff. And then saying, we're not going to have Kenya do any confessionals. We're not going to have Kenya come to the reunion. They invited her to the reunion, then disinvited her to the reunion. That didn't make sense to me either. Look, Belle. Belle says, Kempire, I love how you use the purple background for Kenya. Are you secretly hashtag Team Twirl? No, I'm intentional with every lie that I do. I do the homework. I do my work. Okay? I'm very intentional, but I'm glad that you noticed. I am team no one. I am team Kempire myself. I don't know these people, even though I know them probably better than you do. Y'all, calm down. Calm down. All right. Keith Smack says you're going to bring Keith up next. Keith, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire.
Hey.
So, first of all, with Kenya, the whole situation honestly reminded me of a time when I had to actually sue my employer because it was like a harassment situation. And I remember we had to do like some type of conference. And one of the stipulations was that they had to do an actual apology to me. And the apology wasn't to me. They apologized for the situation. So because they apologized for the situation, not to me, I never accepted the apology. So I continued with the lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminded me a little bit about that because I feel like what she needs to do to really rectify the situation is to apologize to Brit Eady directly and not just apologize. Not just say, I'm taking accountability. Accountability for what? Okay, I understand that what you did was wrong, but you need to apologize to the person that it affected and apologize and take accountability on that it hurt them and how you can be able to resolve that situation. But also with Kenya, I think she really went the wrong route. Like she said, she's a veteran. She's a quote unquote OG when really she's not, but she's a quote unquote OG. So she should know that instead of doing what she did, she should have taken that storyline about Brit wanting to pow her and dragged it all season long and played the damsel in distress card. She's been around a lot of Karen. She should have been in every scene crying, saying how she's hurt. Her feelings are in distraught emotion. She don't know how she can't wake up in the morning. She don't know how she's going to move. She should have really been dragging this out and really let the fans be the one.
We would have hated the fact that she dragged this out for multiple episodes. We were like, Kenya now.
I wouldn't personally, because I'm like, if someone threatened to pow me, baby, I would be dragging it until past the reunion. We would have been at least 3 seasons in, and I would have still been bringing it up. Okay, 3 seasons because my feelings would have been hurt. I'm distraught. Like, you just threatened to pow me on national television. I have a child. I have a family. She knew what she was doing, but she did it wrong. That's it.
What I take from what you're saying is that she should have utilized that as her power.
She should have, because I feel like Brit was giving her that storyline to where I feel like Kenya could have came off on top. Because the whole situation is already looking bad for Brit. I feel like how she used that situation and said, why is a newbie just threatening to pow me? And we only met 2-3 times in group scenes. We never even had a one-on-one conversation.
Here's the thing. I also would have used it as a way for her to get less camera time.
Exactly.
I can't be around her.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they say that she has to be there, I'll be like, oh, really? Here's my employment attorney. Speak to my attorney.
Exactly. And start the fake tears. Okay, do a little bit of her side acting gig that she had done in the past. Just start crying.
On.
Just start crying on cue. Well,
Keith, you're a fool. Okay. Thank you so much for calling in, Keith.
Of
Take
course.
care. Bye. Y'all are a mess. But again, for me, that would have been the move. This is why I talk about utilizing HR for your own purpose, because she really could have them like, this is literally on camera. They would have to preserve the evidence. They definitely preserved it. They aired it at this particular point. Bravo, that's a liability. But okay. Nicole, you called back in. Did you have something else that you wanted to say?
Yeah, sweetheart, I can suck the block on you. Like, yeah, sweetheart. No, you're on point, and that's why I had to come back, because when you talk about the HR perspective, you do have to document everything. I do believe you got to keep in mind this woman moved through the 1980s, through the 1990s, and the pageants of America. You don't think she don't know the game? Yeah, she might have had a slip up. It happens. That's the thing I want Black women to understand on this platform. And I love the fact that you are leveling us up on this situation. That's why you got that purple, because I know you got a little heart for Kenya. I know you do. I know you do. You're watching what's going on in America. I know you are. That woman had a slip. Her crown tilted a little bit. But you got to keep in mind, she got a crown in her safe that's worth $1 million, Miss USA. Right. Go back to Real Housewives of Atlanta. And when she opens that case, that crown.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in, Nicole. All right. All right. And that's a wrap, y'all. But I do appreciate you all being here. And I know shout out to our King's Guards. Please be sure to say thank you to our King's Guards. Shout out to Foxy that's in the chat. Shout out to Mama Allie. Who else is in the chat that's our King's Guards? I don't know. But shout out to our King's Guards. That'll be in the comments section. Again, we do not moderate adults. Shout out to our King's Guards. Judy's holding us down on TikTok. Shout out to those of you watching on Twitter. Hey, Twitter. Keep being mad about my title. Y'all gonna stay mad, but you're gonna stay watching. And half the people that are mad follow me. I'm like, why are you following someone you don't like? Please understand, you're also fighting in a room by yourself. Look, you fighting because I mute you. You're probably been already muted. Okay, so you're fighting by yourself. All right, DJ's backstage. We're gonna bring DJ up because I know DJ has tried to call in before. What's going on, DJ?
That was fast.
That's because we were about to be done. You called in late.
Oh, my bad. I just want to say I completely agree with Kenya's sentiments. First off, I'm still mad that this is being dragged out this far. Like as you said, but I feel for her in the fact that I have seen so much worse. Like I just was watching some throwbacks of Real Housewives. Just some of the most vulgar things that they said to one another, and I think to just a little bit to side with the new girl and Andy, to the fact that she didn't physically touch Kenya. They were just words. And so I get that. But I just think Bravo dragged this out terribly wrong by building it up to this huge, like, Kenya's going to be exposed type thing. She did this horrible thing. And then Brit just played it terrible by antagonizing the audience. It's just a mess. And it's overclouding season 16. And I just hope we get some more action later this season.
And some fun.
Exactly.
I'm one of those people that watch reality television just for drama. I like to have a good fun, good shade, good kiki, like a girls trip or something. I mean, that's happening this week, so we shall see if it's fun.
Oh, good. I literally was about to say they need a trip or a dinner or something to get the topic off of this. But yeah, I'll be tuning in. I've been watching you all day, so this has been good.
Oh, thank you, DJ. All right, have a great night. All right. In regards to what DJ said, in regards to threats are against the law, and depending on your state, they do have varying consequences. So please, again, for those that are listening to this and think that you can go at your workplace and threaten somebody and not feel like you could lose your job and also face police action, know your laws. Okay. So keep that in mind. Let me say thank you, and then I'm going to get out of here. Happy Saturday, guys, and happy Easter to those that celebrate. Tamia, thank you so much for the super chat. Tamia says all the press, but then tanking ratings. Yikes. Yeah, the ratings have not been great. And I just don't imagine it being better now that Kenya's not a part of it. And that's part of my thing with Bravo, including Kenya at the top of the season, but no confessionals. And I get it. Kenya was no longer working. They filmed confessionals after the season. It's basically wrapping up. So that was probably part of the reason, because they parted ways, even though Kenya says she's still under contract to them. She said that during Tamron Hall. Born Blondie, thank you so much for another super chat. Born Blondie says they are Bravo pets and Portia is the biggest one. Let me find out this is Nene. Nene, you want to send in the super chats? I wouldn't be surprised. Sage, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member. Sage says, I would have dragged this out and got my Karen on, but I'm a rising Leo. I have a soft spot for Kenya too. Y'all are a mess. All right. It's officially going to be Taurus season tomorrow. Come on. I'm ready for it. I'm ready. Shout out to all the Aries, though. Woo, 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 Aries. Enjoy your last couple of minutes of moments, all right? It's about to be Taurus season, okay? Shout out to all the Tauruses. I see you guys. If you're a Taurus, drop your astrological sign. If you know your rising and your moon, drop that as well. Taurus sun, Leo moon, Cancer rising. I know, don't judge me. Don't judge me. Okay. Elijah says they're trying to drag my mother Angela too. I know. I saw it. I saw the story. I'm going to have to talk about that separately, but not tomorrow. Tomorrow's Easter. I hope that you guys are celebrating any way that you can, being with your family, being with your friends, whatever way you're doing it. I hope you guys have a fantastic Easter. It's also 420 tomorrow. Pass. I'm just kidding. Whoa. And it's on a Sunday at Easter Sunday. Just say, you already know those people are going to be out doing all that. Keith, thank you so much for the super chat. Keith says, don't judge me, but I tried to look for Brit Eady's photos, but couldn't even find a G-string. How public could it have been? Not to look at your search history right now, okay? All right. I see my fellow Tauruses are in the building. What's going on, Tauruses? We had a lot of Aquariuses call in tonight. I didn't realize we had that many Aquariuses following the channel. If you're part of the replay crew, be sure to let us know your sun, moon, and rising. Okay? Steven says a Scorpio all year round. Okay, Scorpios. Y'all like our sister sign, our what do they call that? Exactly. Queen J says Easter Bunny again. Okay. All right, y'all. Happy Easter. Happy Sunday. Happy Saturday night. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you did, be sure to like the video. TikTok, keep tapping your screens. Shout out to those of you watching on Twitch and Twitter. We appreciate you as well. Keep being mad. You're muted, okay? All right, bye, y'all. I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Podcast. As always, don't forget to give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And for everything Kempire Radio, head on over to KempireRadio.com.